We're live on PM Express tonight in a conversation that has left many in the Western region terrified. The Western Regional Security Council is worried about reprisals and calling for calm there, especially in the wake of the fresh remains retrieved yesterday. And we're going to try and unravel the mystery, try and break them down and explain it. Because in the midst of and the absence of accurate information, you know what feels it? A lot of rumor and then panic and then fear, which Western Regional Security Council doesn't want to see. What do we know so far? We know that fresh remains were retrieved yesterday from another part of the Western region, prompting additional fears. All this as part of investigations to locate the 3 missing girls who've been gone for almost a year. We know the Ghana Police Service, they sent out this tweet yesterday that the police investigators today, just yesterday, discovered a 4th set of human remains in a well at Nkrofo news site at Takari. This tweet got many more people really alarmed. Investigations we know are underway to establish the identity of the remains, while police continued with all angles, ongoing investigation, trying to explore every single angle possible to try and understand what was happening, who the skeletons belong to. And that is another hurdle that we need to cross in terms of the DNA testing. We know that the latest discovery comes on the back of the last discovery last week Friday about 3 skeletal parts that the police suspect belong to 3 separate individuals, totally decomposed. But we are now hearing there's enough there that could serve as a basis for some DNA testing. We know that there have been reactions to this. The latest discovery has heightened fears in the Western region. And we also know that many are skeptical about the security operatives having the resources to successfully do the analysis. But most importantly, the concern from the parents that they don't simply trust that the police will be impartial in getting to the bottom of the matter. And also there's also expressed fears that there could be some difficulty in analyzing these remains, considering the fact that the parts have been in the ground for a while, particularly the one that was discovered in the septic tank there in the past. Section of the public also want the police to step aside and allow a different independent body to look into it. There's so many questions being raised about this, but I guess the thing we haven't done enough of is speak to the experts who understand the way these things work and get the public to, I guess, understand it a bit more, but also remain calm as the Western Regional Security Council had called for. Also in the Ashanti region today, we're hearing about what police suspect to be a possible case of serial murders with 5 women killed in the last few months alone. The police are speaking about it today. What it really is happening there? We'll try and get into that as well and ask a simple question. Does this latest discovery affect ongoing investigations underway already into the 3 missing girls? We'll try and dissect that and understand it a bit more if you stay with us here on PMS. So stay with us. PMS Festival. We've begun a conversation already, a very interesting conversation where we've been having here on this very matter. And I wanted to join us because one of the key things I think that has happened that we haven't done well enough in terms of, even the security agencies haven't done well enough in this. In the wake of all that has happened since last Friday, there hasn't been one press conference that addresses what is happening and inform the public about it. Because look, there are people who are really concerned about the discovery of the 4th skeletal parts, the 4th set of human remains. People are worried. And the officers, the National Police Service, everybody is very quiet. Elsewhere in the world, I know there will be regular updates, because one thing you want to rule out and take out of the equation is public panic. Because, oh my God, 3 bodies found, a 4th person, what is happening? There's a serial murder here. But we haven't had anything. And so we're going to try and do that. The experts who understand this, who have sources, who understand how these things work, will try and help us with expert knowledge. And hopefully by the time we end, they will help us dispel a bit of the fears that we all harbor in the wake of all these discoveries. And to join me in the studio, it's the first time he's coming on the show. We possibly even haven't, had the last of him, but we discovered him 48 hours ago or 24 hours ago. Dr. Richmond Afuakwa is the head Department of Forensic Sciences, University of Cape Coast. Richmond, thank you very much, Doc,
thank you very much
for joining us.
Sure.
Also joining me is a man you know very well. He is Adam Bona, CEO, Security Warehouse Limited, who is also with me here in the studio. Mr. Bona, I want to start with you on this. I want to start with from the ordinary man's point of view. When I had the fourth set of human remains yesterday, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening here? Is it a case of serial murders? And also because of suspicion. The thing that got me being worried was that it was discovered in a well in an area or place on completed building where this suspect was rearrested. I'm thinking, what could be happening here? Is it that he or others conspired to kill all these people? Is it a bigger than we thought? Is it something more happening? And I don't live in the Western region, but those who live there, you can imagine the fear. Is it acceptable that we still haven't had any proper briefing from the police, from the CID, from government, in the wake of all the discoveries?
Well, yes. Good evening to viewers and to my brother here. I would start with probably the discovery and what has happened in the last, I would say, the first discovery was on Friday, and so then there was a holiday on Monday, and then Tuesday they had the second discovery, and so within 48 hours of 2 working days they had uncovered 4 human. Even at the moment it's difficult to conclude that they are human remains. At the moment, it's difficult.
No, the police said so.
No, what I'm trying to say is that the police might have said that, but then you need science to tell you that this is actually human.
Should know this.
No, wait. The police are humans. If
they could have made a mistake.
It's possible that whatever you might have found might not be human remains. So you need science to prove that whatever they have uncovered, is actually human remains. And so as far as I'm concerned, that is another subject altogether. Then coming to...
the police jumped the gun?
Probably yes. Because then...
No, probably is the...
Well, my point is that I'm happy the head of forensic, science is here from the University of Cape Coast. Mine is that you need to be able to establish that these remains you have found are humans. And so I would have expected that in their statement, they would have put in suspected human remains.
Oh, yes, it remains. Remains of animal.
Well, no, when I say suspected human remains, until it is proven beyond every reasonable doubt that those remains are that of humans. So that is where sometimes I think that the general public is probably also pushing to get too much information. And to
the question I asked.
To the question you asked.
Pushing to get too much.
No, what I'm saying is that because, like you said, we need the police or government or somebody to come up with a press statement.
No.
Brief you. But from where I sit, I think that they should rather take their time. We've had some information with press releases here and there. They should take their time, make sure whatever information they have is what they are saying it is or it is not. Because remember, the rest of us...
we don't deserve a briefing
No,
now.
wait. Remember, the rest of us, Ghanaians, cannot be grieving more than the bereaved. Because you have the victims' families who at the moment needs our support. So the last thing you want is to have state machinery or state apparatus adding to the confusion.
No, but what I am questioning is not the sort of public information that goes into the nitty-gritties.
Okay.
I'm talking about currently, because one of the key responsibilities of any security apparatus is also to avoid panic, fear, and unnecessary concern among the public. And people will rightly feel very concerned if within one geographic area you've discovered 4 human parts almost decomposing. You almost
not almost decomposing. It's gone. These are just skeletal remains.
Thanks for clarifying that. you almost have a duty to speak to that audience, telling them what you have found, remain calm. We are doing what we have to do. If we have brought in experts, equipment, whatever, let us know the basics. You are in control. Don't panic. Security is that sort of assurance is what I'm talking about.
Well, it is true, but what
we don't need that.
Well, for that we need. But my point is that we've got to tread cautiously, because then you see we've had too many press conferences that they end up sometimes, you know, too many things that sometimes come out and they add to the confusion. And so I would rather urge that they should have all the facts and then tell us. Remember, they found 3 human remains. And then just in the process, because Friday they found it, they found the human remains. Obviously Saturday, no working, Sunday, and then Monday was, so we had a long holiday or, weekend. Then Tuesday, just when we thought everything, we were going to ask them when they would give us the, results, we had another human remain discovered. And so then my point is that it throws these whole investigations into something else, where we had the family members, having their own take on what has happened. I'll come and ask you what the latest my point is that I would rather urge calm and say, let's expect those in charge to have all the facts, so that when they are coming to us and they talk, there would not be too many questions for us to ask. But if they come quickly to talk, they will talk, and there will be too many questions. And believe me, some of us will take them to the cleaners if they come and talk, and probably they rather leave more questions than answers that we're expecting.
Dr. Papa, here's my point. These things that we are now talking about isn't the first time it's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Worst cases, more gruesome has happened, serial killing, etc. in the world, we know. The practice I have seen on television, at least, elsewhere, in the US and elsewhere, is that the police do well to regularly update the population. Regular updates. When they find something, they announce it. In fact, they can decide that I'll do a press conference, we won't take questions, or they'll take questions. The question is going to an area, they'll say, it's an investigation, I'm not commenting. But what they don't do is keep quiet and allow rumor, speculation, which is what is happening really, to feed it. And that is possibly why you hear the family say, first they said we trust the police, go ahead. Within 24 hours, they come hold the press conference and say, we don't trust the police anymore. Why do you think that is? Because all these other people are speaking to them.
Yes.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yes,
that's what why doesn't the police take that and fill that gap?
Let's not separate the police from all the other security agencies. I think you just said that the Western Regional Security Council has issued a statement.
Yeah, calling for calm.
And I don't see how that is too different from...
Very different.
Well, but then it's also part of the security organizations of the nation.
Yeah, but you know why that's different? Western Regional Security Council has no knowledge about
you are wrong.
In terms of the information they put out.
You may be wrong. You may be wrong, because I am sure that...
You know why I'm saying that?
On the Western Regional Security Council...
Just a second. Today, the chairman of the council who spoke to us had made pronouncement that the police is contradicted. The police say, so
this is where we go. So this is what I'm talking about.
Exactly the point I'm saying.
This is the point where if you're not careful, you bring a whole lot of confusion.
My point to you was that if you allow...
probably the chairman shouldn't have spoken.
But here's exactly my point to you was, if you allow another agency other than the CID to speak, you have that problem.
No.
But that's why we have that problem.
No, Evans.
He suggested that there's a man who led them there.
You can't stop the chairman of the Western Regional Security Council. Technically, he is in charge. He represents the president.
But when he speaks, he has to give us actual information.
Technically, he represents the president at that level in the Western region, where we have turmoil. And so my point is that I'm not expecting him to speak and the foremost internal security agency comes in to contradict him.
But
this is what we should have avoided. This is what some of us
the right people aren't speaking to the nation.
No,
it's not what it is.
Who you are calling the right person may be questionable at this point, because as my brother said, the chairman of the Western Regional Security Council holds a lot of power.
Exactly.
He represents the security organization. That is what I am saying. You see, we are calling for them to bring out information, which information they have not really organized, put together very well. You know that when they went to the crime scene, I am sure that they weren't hoping to find
human remains.
It comes to them as a surprise. You understand? And this whole, they will have to now come home, set their house in order before bringing out information to us. If today they come, if today the CID boss comes to give us information, and the next day she comes to tell us something, and it varies a little from the initial information she gave, we will take her to the cleaners.
Yes,
we will. You see, there is some sort of initially, you remember the information she put out there that the girls were safe, and it has been trending on social media for the past week that she gave wrong information. But then possibly it was a lead she was following. You know, these criminals they have in their custody give them leads.
Yes.
It is these leads that they follow. And when the kidnapping or the abduction happened, she wasn't present. The police wasn't present. The police can only follow up on leads. And these leads they have normally shouldn't come to the public domain. But we force them. No. We need information. We need information. What is happening with the tardy kidnapped girls? Bring back our girls. And then they are forced to bring us.
We're entitled to that information.
Exactly.
The CID is entitled to give us information they have verified and trust. Don't give us the type of information that would jeopardize the investigation. However, the CID boss chose to give information that possibly jeopardize the investigation by telling us that we know where they are. If you I'm
now you just added the Western Regional Security Council chairman, who has also just jeopardized
if I am a kidnapper and I hear CID and I'm holding the girls and I hear the CID, we know where they are, we're bringing them home. What do you think I will do? I'll move them. So that is not
exactly what you are saying.
For the could actually, we have to blame the CID for failing to
the scenario you just gave could actually be a strategy. Who knows? So possibly, I know about 3 different leads where I have been informed that the girls may be there, and then I come out and tell you that I know where they are. The expectation is that you will move them, and then there's surveillance on these areas. You move them, and then possibly we get you. You understand? It could be a strategy. I'm not saying that was the situation.
Of course, I agree.
I'm not saying that was the situation, but it could be. And then you give other information, there is no movement in the area. Of course, it means that lead is not a proper lead. You understand? So you come back home, reorganize yours. We have to understand the process of criminal investigation. If we don't understand that, we will always get it wrong. The situation here is that you don't know. You have no idea what is going on. The criminal is always ahead of you.
Exactly.
You are trying to catch up. So you catch up by following leads. The lead may be wrong. You will go, hit a stumbling block, come back, prepare your house, follow another lead. If we don't understand the basics in criminal investigation, we will always chastise the police unreasonably. So that if the police tells you that this is what we are doing to unravel this case, and they follow up the lead, and at the end of the day it doesn't work, and they come back, they say, we are now following up this lead, we don't have to unnecessarily bastardize them.
Yeah, and the truth is that you realize that even after the remains were found in the Western region, the first remains were found. You know, one other thing, the media, you know, we had a lot of media people go in there, opening doors, and you know, and I'm thinking this is a possible crime scene. where you, the media, you are contaminating.
No. Wait. You can't blame the media.
Wait, I'm not blaming you.
You have to blame the police.
No, I am not blaming.
For not securing the crime scene.
Wait, Evans, I'm not blaming the media.
Maybe they finished processing the crime scene.
I'm not blaming.
It's no longer an issue.
If you waited for me, you would if I would have landed.
Yes.
And so I saw cameramen, people who had their fingers on the trigger and announcing. And I had some media houses, some colleagues of yours actually did say the suspect actually gave the lead that actually culminated into the discovery, which what I knew from the ground was totally different.
In fact, the Western Regional Security Council chairman, the point I was making, that said the same exactly.
Exactly, and so
which is the point
so it means that the Western Regional Security Council chairman is listening too much to the media.
Exactly,
he's listening too much to the media. He's listening to the media and reading things on social media. I'm sure he's listening to this program instead of speaking to the technocrats on the ground. Instead of speaking, because as we speak, as of today, these people in custody are disowning those human remains and saying that these girls are alive. And so my point is that until such a time that forensic evidence come out to say what they are saying is totally wrong, we cannot just end up saying that it is them. And so we've got to be careful in what we ask for, or else we are going to make some hasty conclusion and it comes back that everything that we know is completely wrong.
The speculations are way too
But whose fault is it that we are speculating?
Well,
everywhere in the world, when such what's the word? Intriguing stories of crime emerge, it always grips a nation. You cannot help the intrigue and the speculation.
But we in the media,
can't help it.
We in the media have a responsibility to make sure that calm is always prevails.
Yeah.
You see.
But when we lack information, we can't do much about it.
No.
And the media should urge the family to cooperate.
What you call lack of information may not necessarily be lack of information. You see, information given in snippets, given incomplete information may not be information at all. Why don't we wait and get complete information?
Who? Media, we should wait?
Everybody.
No.
We have to be patient.
What you're asking is so unrealistic.
No.
We can't wait. It's the nature of the job
we didn't wait.
But
and
that's
then
not
we got
realistic.
information of a lead that didn't end anywhere.
Yeah, but I'll do my job and press for the information. The police must do their job not to give me the information. So you are
telling me you are doing your job now, pressing for the information.
That is why you are here. That is why I brought you here, and I brought this gentleman here, because I know he has information that the police will not put out there because they are the police.
Sure.
Right? And that's why we are doing what we're doing. We won't stop. We won't wait. We will press.
But please, let's wait. I'm very confident. I'm very confident that in the very shortest future, the CID will come out with what they know. I am very confident of that. So let us wait. We will get the information. But let us not incite so much fear, and because there's a lot of fear and panic in the Western region.
Absolutely, my
so point. Unnecessary.
That is why I started from where I started.
So the media has a role to play.
So unnecessary.
That's exactly why, when I said, the reason why we brought you here is to deal with that.
Yeah.
Anxiety.
So people shouldn't panic.
With accurate information.
People shouldn't
panic. Evans, now let us tell the people in the Western region now that they shouldn't panic.
Why shouldn't they?
They shouldn't panic because
use your forensic science question background to answer them the question, which would ask you, why shouldn't they panic when they have found not one, not two, not three? Three, they probably are assuming is the bodies of the 3 girls. 4. Wow, what's happening? Answer that question for them.
These are decayed. Let me put it this way: human remains. We don't know, even as my brother said, whether they are human or not. These are decayed remains of some organisms. Let me put it this way, and we are not sure whether they are even human remains.
Yeah.
So until we find that, until we come to that conclusion that they are human remains, that is when we have to ask further questions. So are they human remains of the girls? If they are, then we look at how the girls died. If they are not, we look at whose human remains are these. There are a lot of questions that need answering, but we need to take our time and go through the correct processes to answer these questions. If not, we'll be asking for a lot of information or we'll be asking a lot of questions which we do not have answers to as of now. Because this DNA evidence, for example, we are talking about, and I'm told that there is a 4-week deadline for the results to come out.
Yes, that's what we heard.
I
heard it, but I heard it. I don't know who brought that information out.
We don't even know as of now whether the remains are human or not.
Correct.
And we are expecting DNA evidence, DNA results in 4 weeks.
Is that realistic, knowing what you know about DNA testing?
Well, for this kind of work, the police will not routinely do DNA extraction from bones. The police forensic lab will do some paternity testing, some question DNA profiling and others. They won't routinely do DNA extraction from bones. So when this comes up, they will have to quickly now get the reagents and the tools they will use for extracting DNA from bones. You get me? And these reagents are not cooked and put in the fridge waiting for bones to come to the lab to be worked on. So they will need to now get the reagents from wherever they will get them from. And it takes time. Manufacturers will now manufacture these reagents, ship them to Ghana, extract
you can buy it on the shelf somewhere?
No. You don't put these things on the shelf. The shelf life.
These are specialized.
Very, very short. You understand? So I am still wondering. I'm yet to know who gave that 4-week deadline.
I actually heard. I actually heard somebody who works in another lab, a lady, can't remember her name, speaking to a network that had called me. And so when they pressed, she said approximately 4 weeks.
Okay, so
and
they're asking how long.
Yes, how long?
Okay.
And she said approximately 4 weeks. But then I thought 4 weeks, you have decayed, these are things that probably might have lost all
we shouldn't
stuff.
make too much of that. I mean, that's not the police's line.
Yeah.
But the point you're making is that it takes time.
It takes time. It takes time, and we have to be patient. That is what I am talking about. Okay. We have to be patient for the police to do their work.
It costs money.
We have to be, and we have to be patient for the police to gather enough information to come and tell us. The police have been issuing some tweets. They've been issuing some small snippets of information. And I think all of us need to calm down. I'm not surprised because this is the biggest kidnapping issue we are witnessing in Ghana, maybe for the first time, and it has traveled almost a year now. So I'm not surprised that people are a little agitated and nervous about this whole issue. But then we need to calm down.
Yeah, and Adam Bonan.
And before you go there, we have to acknowledge that this is a huge learning process for the police, because they have not handled any such case like this. It's a huge learning process.
It took them on by surprise.
It took them by surprise. You understand? So at a point, we will have to be empathetic with the police a little and not bastardize them too much. But we also have to expect a whole lot of professionalism from them.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a very important point. And I think the last time we treated this matter when our good friend, Mr. Tobu, superintendent who just retired from the police 2 months ago, said to us that in the police training manual, they don't talk about
kidnapping is not part of it.
So you have an entire police service. They know next to, I'm sorry, my police friends, they don't know much about kidnapping.
Correct.
Because we're not used to it. It's not part of our crime profile.
So before
everybody's grappling to try and understand is the reason why when the Canadians happen,
So I will come in.
So the point you make is important.
Sure.
The public don't appreciate that.
Sure.
The police themselves haven't owned up to the fact that, listen, guys, we need to be honest with you. This is new to us. We are learning on the job, really, and so we'll make mistakes and forgive us. But you've made it for them. I hope that Ghanaians have listened to that. They'll cut the police some slack. You're making a point.
My point is that generally, best international practice when it comes to, usually this case is still, you can't even say it's kidnapping. It's still missing persons. You can't say it's kidnapping.
Police have labeled it.
No, I believe the media helped it. It is missing.
So
They are missing. Wait, they are missing.
They haven't.
Probably tomorrow would come. Remember, these girls are above 18. And they appear from nowhere. And so, I mean, who declared us kidnapped and missing? Here we are. We decided to go on a vacation and we are back. And you don't have any case against even the people you have arrested. And so we've got to be careful. And usually, when these cases are reported to police stations all over the world, you go to a police station, let's say in Toronto, or some downtown Washington, and you say, oh, your relation who is above 18 or that age, you know, is left home and hasn't come back. They will take the name, take particulars where you stay, and tell you, go back home. If after some time that person doesn't come back.
Depending on the age, though.
Wait, yes. If that person doesn't come back, because internationally, these things are known fact that at a certain age, a group of young people would usually leave home and would not sometimes will sleep over and not come back for days, or they are angry with parents, they leave home and they don't come back. And so usually what happens is that you go to I'm not limiting it to Ghana, you go and you report, they will tell you, you go. If after some time, these persons are not, they are not back, let us know. Meanwhile, put information out there saying we are looking for these persons, we are looking for them. And so it takes time. And so if you do a bit of research on this, you'll realize that when these things happen, sometimes it takes time. But in areas where you have high cases of kidnapping, or let's say you have somebody reporting that this person said he will kidnap me, I suspect somebody wants to kidnap me, and that issue is reported, it means that there is information about this person's life under threat. So quickly they will swing into action. And so when you follow the paper trail, what happened in the Western region, in this case, you realize that it followed a certain pattern, which I am not surprised. It followed a certain pattern because then the police over there themselves didn't take it serious. We spoke about it. They didn't take it serious. They didn't understand probably what was going on until the demonstration the people did there. When multimedia came in and started bring back our media. Then other media houses followed. And then some of us called that this case was bigger than the Western region. Because as of then, probably the Western region itself wasn't even doing much with regards to trying to tell us some information about it. And so until this whole thing came to probably Accra, some of us were a bit confused with what was going on, to the extent that even the guy who was arrested, the guy who's been convicted now for breaking jail, escaped. And so for me, some of us are waiting for this whole thing to, let's bring closure to it. Then we can go into it and name, you go to the Western region, you play this role, you play that role. But for now, the moment we begin to do that, we'll jump the gun and we'll miss a lot of things. Okay. And so for me, those are some of the things I am expecting. I'm
going to take a break. When I return, I'm going to ask them to tell me what they're reading into the fourth set of human remains that were discovered in the Western regional capital just yesterday. What it means, because a lot of speculation is already happening about that. People are scratching their heads. We thought we've solved it, we've cracked it, and then the fourth remains were discovered. I'll ask them what they make of that. And then we'll go into the questions about how the police are going to go about establishing the identities of these four individuals, seeing that we don't have a DNA registry in Ghana. Stay with us here on PM Express. We'll be right back. It's so live on PM Express. My guest in the studio, Dr. Richmond Afakwa. He is head Department of Forensic Sciences, University of Ghana. University of Cape Coast. And also Adam Bonner is the CEO, Security Warehouse Limited. Let me come back to you, Dr. Afakwa. The three remains were found on Friday, and then the fourth set of remains found yesterday. What does that mean? That's confusing.
It shouldn't be confusing. There are more mortal remains out there to be found.
A lot
out there. The fact that they have not been found doesn't mean they are not there. You see, people kill people. Humans kill humans on a daily basis. not here in Ghana alone, everywhere.
In Kumasi, they've discovered some, is it five women killed, and they don't even know the families of some of them.
And these things have history. You know, we have a history where I came to meet a legend where when a king dies, they say you find people behead them and bury the king with their heads. The ritual killings have been with us for a very long time. So finding human remains or mortal remains of whatever is not new. You understand? The only thing making it news now is because of the missing Tadi girls.
Correct.
Which has taken a lot of national significance or importance at this time. So finding a fourth, we wake up tomorrow, the police has found the fifth or the sixth, I will not be surprised.
But I think that the intrigue here is the fact that all the four were discovered in places the prime suspect.
This is because police is actively searching these places. I'm telling you, if police in Accra actively looks for skeletal remains in awkward places, they will find. They will find. You understand? So we shouldn't make this too strange. For me, it is not strange because these crimes occur on a daily basis. The fact that we are finding them, that is the good news. The good news is in finding them.
And I guess the point has to be emphasized. It just shows that the police, they're working.
Exactly. Exactly. If we weren't finding them, then the police, they are sleeping.
They'll be sleeping on the job.
We are finding them. The police is working. It's not, let me say, it's not the police who killed them. Some miscreant somewhere will kill somebody and hide the body. So if the police finds the body, it means they are working. You are very right.
One step closer to solving the problem. Because the body is, sometimes it holds a smoking gun.
It doesn't sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't sometimes.
Always?
It's almost always.
Okay.
Holds a smoking gun.
Yeah.
And if you do a proper forensic investigation of the body where you found it, you are likely to unravel what happened.
Yes, the cause of death.
You understand? This is
Cause
why
of death when they died.
Yeah.
Or let's say at this point some post-mortem interval.
How much can these bones tell us?
A lot.
Let me understand that.
A lot. First and foremost, the bones can tell us whether the remains are female or male. We have not done that. Yeah. The bones can tell us whether they are human bones or they are not. The bones can give us some information about
their age.
The bones can give us some information about what happened before they died. You understand? If they were shot in the head, of course the bullet wound will be found if they were shot in the chest, you can examine the
if they were strangulated.
If they were strangulated, of course, you can find some fracture in the cervical vertebra. The bones can tell us a lot. You understand? So
can they tell us when they were killed?
Well, you have to go to the site where the bones were picked from. You would then have to do some sort of entomology if you find any insects in the area, if you find any maggots in the area. That is when you can do some post-mortem interval.
Okay.
That is
determining time
estimated period where putrefaction began.
But that will be important in unraveling the mystery, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Because you expect the police to do that too.
They will. Okay. I'm confident
and that is why this
is why I'm saying that the police is learning. You see, they are learning. This is the first time they are getting such a major case of kidnapping and possibly a death, ending in death. So they will have to go through the full process of learning. And that is why I was saying that we shouldn't push them too much, or else they will miss very important lessons to learning this whole issue. You understand? It will surprise you. The training for detectives until recently, the crime scene component is very small. You know, Tobu possibly told you that kidnapping is not part of their curriculum. You see, crime scene, previously, they taught it about 2 hours, a few hours. Until recently, we are expanding it to cover about between 3 and 6 weeks. It didn't even exist.
It didn't exist.
You understand? So this whole thing, it came as a surprise to all of us because we weren't ready for it. We hadn't trained detectives. We hadn't trained detectives to conduct crime scene management and investigation before these things happen. So when the detective goes to the crime scene, that CSI kind of crime scene investigation you are expecting.
But I know more about crime scene management than the police.
I'm not sure.
Let me tell you why.
I'm not sure.
I had this is a story, but it's true story. My house was burgled.
Yeah.
The police officer comes to investigate. Go to the back of the building where the thieves took my louver blades and put on the grass.
Sure.
And then we get there, and he says, "Oh, he has to take the louver blades and look for possible fingerprints." Right? Yeah. I should give him a plastic bag. I brought him a black polythene bag, and then there's a police officer picks the louver blades.
I will not make you end.
Hands.
I will not make you end.
Put it around.
This is a police officer.
You are contaminating. Exactly. You didn't understand the word contamination.
This is a police officer.
That's what I do on television.
Who has not had any training in crime scene management. Yeah. So he doesn't even recognize your house as a crime scene. You understand? So it would take us a lot of effort to build the capacity of the police to the level where now the police will come to your house, which possibly thieves broke into your house, whatever, and then cordon off the place with crime scene tapes, barrier tapes, and then come in as professionals to come and conduct the crime scene investigation. It will take us time. We have started. The good news is that we have started.
How many weeks are they getting now on this?
The last training we did was 3 weeks, intensive 3 weeks. They began in the morning around 8 and ended around 6 p.m. every day for the 3 weeks. Okay. It was wonderful, and we are hoping to expand it to possibly 6 weeks. If we are able to do that, not if, when we are able to complete this training for the police, then we will call on government to retool the police to be able to conduct these crime scene management. Or else, we will come back to the same story. Yeah. We will come back and sit here
and discuss.
Cry. We will come back here and then bastardize the police. The public will lose confidence in the police, and that is the beginning of chaos. Nobody wants to get there. When the public loses total confidence in the police, nobody wants to get there. The security, the chaos that will happen in this country, my brother, you don't want to imagine it.
Absolutely.
You don't want to imagine it. So this is the time we have to let the public know that something is being done. Something is being done. We need to have that confidence that the nation is not resting. You understand? We are trying very hard to lift the capacity of the police to the level that we all want.
Mr. Bonner, I almost get the sense now, just listening to that and just following what has happened, that when they discovered the remains, the first 3 remains, what we should have done was probably call the police officers who did and give them a star on their shoulder for doing that, because it's
discovering the
remains.
Okay.
I mean, what tended to happen?
Why should we do that?
Because it shows for me that somebody's thinking.
No, we've got to wait. First of all, we've got to wait. Let's not begin to celebrate when we haven't seen the end of this story yet. And just like he's saying, until probably beginning of this year, last year, even the machine that the police would have used to conduct this DNA had broken down. Was not working.
I didn't even think we had one.
No, we do.
Yes, they had, but it wasn't working. I think it's been fixed now.
Sure.
It wasn't working. And
fortunately, it was fixed before this case happened.
Yes, it wasn't fixed because of this.
No, it wasn't fixed because of this. Okay. Meaning that the police is readying themselves for such investigations.
So when I heard that, okay, now we've put in, then I thought that, okay, now it means that they can do some analysis, collect data, or evidence and try to analyze it themselves.
They hire your service?
No, the police have experts in their lab.
They have experts. They do the training. Sure. And so I mean, going back to your question, I think in the past, with the whole of the Ghana Police Service had just about 15% of certified, CID officers. Just 15%. It means that every 100 CID officers we had, only 15 of them could come to a crime scene and would know what he's doing. But the number has gone up now. Now they have
that kind of training. During that kind of training, the crime scene training they got was just about 3 hours training.
You mean even the 15?
Yes. And so basically, a lot has taken place. They now have the training school that has been opened in the Brong-Ahafo region. They are doing a lot with University of Cape Coast. This, I believe, is the reason why he's giving you a lot of information. And so mine is that we've got to continue to push the police to do the right thing. But of course, let's not forget the executive. Because then, if the executive doesn't have the budget, and all the executive is doing is putting money, I mean, my friends in the cyber space would, eat me up. But all the executive is doing is increasing, what do you call it, talk time tax to take care of cyber. When we have kidnappings and there's no money to tool, the agencies and the trainers to train them, then we have a problem. We have a big problem. And so mine is that security is a big deal. Security is a big deal. Just look at the whole of this year, what has engulfed us in terms of your station, security, so that even when mid-year budget is read and we have PDS issue comes up, some human remains are found and we go back into high gear. And so mine is that if the executive is listening, which I believe they are doing, they've got to really look at themselves and say, we've got to put in a lot of resources, especially in, crime, forensic, crime, how to pick information, gathering evidence and making sure that myself and you won't have a police officer come to your home when it's been broken into and pick a Luva blade.
With his bare
we have that case, the unfortunate case of JB Dankwa.
Yeah.
I went there, the late JB. I went there when the incident happened in the morning. And I wasn't happy because I got there and the place was like a party ground. Yeah. Where people, cameras everywhere. Yeah. And I thought this is a high-profile personality who something has happened to him. He's no longer there. And so mine is that it is because probably back then, those who were in charge of some of these things did not know what they were doing.
But sometimes these things, you don't need to have him gone to the Dr. Farquhar school to know the basics that you're falling off the plane.
My point is that my point is that it is so important to be trained to do these things professionally.
And I'm happy to know that is happening.
It is important to let's re-establish it again and say, a lot of resources should go into what Dr. Farquhar and the rest, the CID detective school, they are doing all else.
My final question,
before that, let me try and then say a little about what you said about the investment into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is, as part of the forensics, gives a whole new threat to the country. So we shouldn't too much bastardize government initiatives.
It should have been broadened.
It should have been broadened to cybersecurity.
It should have been broadened.
It should be broadened to the whole of the crime investigation industry.
Yes.
You understand? But then only the way cyber attacks or cyber threats, cyber fraud, and all these cyber criminals, the kind of negative image they are giving the country currently requires some attention.
It requires some neglected that space for a while.
Sure. So
final thoughts, gentlemen, as we wrap up. The family. We shouldn't forget the family in all this. How should the police approach? Because it looks like there's a breakdown in trust between the family and the police.
Yeah.
How should the police be approaching that?
The police will have to do a lot more now. They will have to find a way of earning the trust of the family. I think a lot have gone on from the time the girls were missing till now that has resulted in the families not trusting the police. It is not too late. It is not too late. I mean, there is this adage in Akan that Achia Nemui. I'm sure that if the police put some effort into it, give the family some updates on what they are doing, what they want, they have to do, and everything. I'm sure that the family, they will win back the trust of the families. And
I think that the media has a role to play in reassuring the family that they should cooperate with the police. And my information, intel I've picked, indicate that some, clinic, what do you call them? Clinical psychologists have been dispatched. Either they've arrived there or they are on their way there to, ensure that the victims' families, are brought to speed, get the help they need. And so hoping that once these clinical psychologists get there, or if they're already there, everything what we are expecting, we'll see it.
Thank you, Adam Bona, Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited, also in the studio with me. I'm really grateful that you joined us, Dr. Fuakwa, who heads the Forensic Sciences Department of the University of Cape Coast. Grateful that you joined us. We need to say a big thank you to the police service for doing the work they do. They get a lot of bashing. But if you listen to Dr. Fuakwa, you realize that they're trying. I mean, this is new for them. We're all learning. They are learning on the job. Just put yourself in the shoes of an ordinary worker who is learning the job. You make loads of mistakes. They are making their mistakes, but it's through mistakes that they learn, remember. The best teacher is mistakes. And so hopefully they've learned their lessons and they are better at it now. And when next kidnapping case, God forbid, happens, they'll be on top of it, like they were with the Canadian girls. And I want to believe it's the lessons they've learned from the Takoradi girls that led them to be that decisive in the way they dealt with the rescue of the girls. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I've learned a lot tonight. I hope you did too. We'll be back next week, Monday.